What's up with the YouTube? It's me, VZ, and I'm back with another reaction video. And today, bro, we got Is Being Fat a Choice now? Me personally, I definitely think it's a choice. But at the same time, bro, I ain't never just seen somebody that just want to be fat food. Like, just want to be fat food. That's crazy. But me personally, I'm fat. Not like right now, I'm slim. But like in my heart, bro, I am fat, bro. When I was younger, fool, I used to eat ham. I know, not even ham sandwiches. I used to eat sandwiches with just ketchup on the inside. So it'll be bread, ketchup, bread, fool. And I used to eat cheese, like just cheese. Let's see what they got to say, bro.
I'm sorry. There's a big difference between the people who are telling people go out and get fat versus a Lizzo who's saying accept me the way I am.
She's not just saying accept me the way I am. She's dressing extremely scantily clad and then saying if you don't think that it's normal for a morbidly obese person to be wearing a...
She trying to choose her words wisely. They looking at her in her head like, say the wrong thing. I want you to say the wrong thing. They on her ass.
String in the middle of public, then you're the problem.
Being fat or skinny is a choice. Agreeers?
Of course, not every factor is purely choice. I don't think that every factor is, but I do think a majority of it is. And in most cases, for most people, being skinny or being fat is about willpower. It's about the environment you grow up in, sure, but who you choose to associate with, what sort of things you choose to listen to, who you choose to kind of have as your friends around you and support you. All of those things are choices that you can make that will lead you closer towards being one or the other.
I know what I do with my body. I know what I put into it day in and day out. I choose not to eat some days. I choose, how I want to look. And I don't fault anyone for how they want to look or how they want to be, but I think it's a choice at the end of the day. I'm very, always wish-washy on how I want to be presented and if I want to gain weight or not. But the only person that's going to gain the weight at the end of the day is me and me myself.
For me, it's calories in, calories out. Go to the gym, you'll get buff. Don't go to the gym, you won't get buff. I understand that there's genetics that could cause you to want to eat more, but even with the genetics that cause you to want to eat more, the same solution is calories in, calories out.
Bro, when you think about it, being too fat is unhealthy. Being too skinny is unhealthy. Like, at one point, bro, you gotta get some meat on your bone, food. So that's why I think being fat, starting off fat, it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Cause when you get into that grind, like you finna lose it, you finna lose that weight, you can either lose it in a good way, and that's by turning it into muscle, or lose a little bit and turn that into muscle, or if you go all the way skinny, I think you in a better boat, you in a better position, but at the same time, it's like, bro, you still unhealthy food. You need to eat, and like now, I'm scared. You need to eat. You're anorexic, sir. Like shit.
I think the whole choice is, always determined on who they are. And it's not going to just be a thing done overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, I think it's like breaking the barrier and breaking a lot of things, not only your body, but also breaking your mental state.
Sure.
And again, that depends on who you are and what you want to go through.
Disagreeers?
I felt like as a toddler, I always viewed myself as big. I grew up in a very poor home, so where my mom couldn't provide the meals that she could healthily. So when we would get free meals, even then it would be canned food, and it would be very much food that's not as edible. It was food for us, yes, but then I felt like once it reached a point where I was old enough to try to make my own choices, I made all of the wrong choices. I wasn't eating, and I was only eating grapes and lettuce, and that was mainly because I was in a sport, and that sport just worked me out so hard. And it was to the point where I just was scared to eat. I didn't like it. I would only drink water.
When you
That
were
was-
eating grapes and lettuce, were you thin?
I was the thinnest I could be.
Were you still
I
big
was
though?
I was still big, but that was the skinniest I've ever been. And that's coming from somebody who was only eating somewhat.
Wet food? She said I was big, but I was as skinny as I could be. What, bro? I'm so confused.
Were you thin?
I was the thinnest I could be.
Were you still big though?
I was still big, but that was the skinniest I've ever
What?
been. And that's coming from somebody
That
who was
don't make
only
no
eating
sense.
somewhat salads that are just fruit and lettuce and water and maybe ice right before a practice.
Do you think that right now you would not be capable of becoming a thin woman if
I
you wanted to?
possibly would be capable of becoming a thin woman, but since I was young, I was supposed to get blood tested probably when I was very, very young, and I never did. And they had mentioned that it could have been because of my weight and how that connects with my thyroid. I never made the connection, and I never had like that leaning parent to be like, go and get checked out, go and do this. Like, your weight is probably not your fault. It was always like, your weight is your fault, so that's your issue.
I mean, I also struggle with, thyroid and my own blood issues. I'm not quite sure, but I do see an endocrinologist and I go see a doctor. It's a choice to do the requisite steps. It's a choice to go grocery shopping instead of going to fast food when it's easy. It's a choice when you're grocery shopping to go to the outer aisles and not go into the bread section and not go into the junk food section. These are all choices.
As a disabled woman, I can't do a lot of the things that people say, calories in, calories out, oh, you gotta go work out and exert it. A lot of the things that are typical, oh, this is how you lose weight, put me in the hospital. I have to navigate weight differently. I have to look at it differently. My weight is the way it is because of medication, because doctors put me in this position, and I had to learn, okay.
Okay, I understand her right there. I know a few girls that get on Plan Bs and they just blow up. Talking about they get big. I understand.
Going to be so hateful of my own body that I am going to backlash and put myself through extreme gym nights, through keeping myself from eating things that I should be able to eat. You should be able to have a balance. You should be able to go into the junk food aisle like other skinny people do and still not have to worry about gaining 20 pounds.
But I don't think skinny people go
all
into
people.
this junk food aisle.
They
I think that's-
certainly do.
They do.
I eat a lot of junk food.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, my DoorDash would tell you otherwise. Like,
There's a thing called set points.
There's something else right there too, bro. Some people just don't gain weight, fool. So that's why. Okay. Now I see why that question is about is being fat or choice, because some people, skinny people can literally eat all day, every day, and still not gain probably 2 pounds. Like, this shit wild, bro.
Of research on it that your body likes to be at specific weights. It likes to be in a specific way. So if you are fighting yourself to lose weight by not eating, over exercising, and you are damn near killing yourself to be at a specific weight, your body's unhappy.
It's important to note that a choice can be harder for people to make due to conditions in their life, but at the end of the day, it's still a choice. I could say that I had food addiction. I looked to food when I was stressed and this and that and this, and so it's harder for me to choose it than for someone who has the perfect lifestyle, someone who has parents who are giving them this and that and this. But I definitely still acknowledge that it was my choice. At the end of the day, when I go there and I look and I see, should I order a second hamburger? I'm the one choosing whether or not I order that second hamburger. I'm the one making that choice.
I pay for no advertising.
I don't know. I've been feeling kind of
So
lost
I'm gonna
lately.
skip.
And how is this helping?
Well,
I pay for no ads, and I'm gonna get no ads. Thank you very much.
Peers, please step forward.
Can the agreeers to do what?
Can the agreeers?
I would rather be skinny than fat.
I would rather be skinny than fat. Can the agreeers?
No, I don't want to be skinny. Nope. I do not want to be skinny. I love my weight now, and I would love for me to be toned. Skinny is not the way to go for me. I'm straight on that.
Step forward.
Oh, come on, big boy.
I think there's a
Gotta
lot
love
of
yourself, my boy.
different struggles when it comes to being a bit bigger. And I have a sister that is very, like, she's 400 pounds and she struggles a lot. She has lymphedema and to shower is really, really hard. So I do think for like an overall happy life and like zero struggle, I think I'd rather be skinny.
I think that it is common in society to want to be skinny. I think the average person typically wants to be skinny. I'm actually surprised that I didn't see more people come forward on that question. People treat you better. It is what is considered the standard of beauty.
The fuck? What do you mean people treat you better? Because you're skinny. How do people treat you better? Y'all, let me know in the comments, how do people treat you better because you skinny and I'm fat? How?
Life expectancy is longer, you tend to be healthier.
If you got a good smile, you got a nice smile. I'm not looking at your cheeks. I'm not looking at your stomach. You got a nice smile. The fuck you mean people treat you better because you're...
I'm also really tall. I'm 6'6", so I kind of wish I could just pick a single struggle because finding clothes and things like that when you're bigger both ways can make it really hard. So if I was skinnier, at least that's one less thing I have to worry about. But also, I've got...
Nah, big bro. Nah, fool. Yo ass. I'm 6'3". I'm 6'3". I don't have to shop in the big and tall. I can just buy regular jeans, 38, 32, 36, 30, no, 38, 32. I wonder what he mean by what he gotta buy. Cause I know his shirt probably with 3X type shit. Pants, 44, whatever. And he tall, so he's saying he gotta find some pants and shirts. I don't know. I ain't been that damn big.
2 kids and a wife, and I'm taking care of them. And as you
Okay,
pointed out, I
see
definitely
there?
think that I'm at less health risks if I'm a skinnier person, if I'm a healthier person in that capacity. And I would much rather be that so that I could be around for my kids longer.
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
I bet cause they gonna say cause they love themselves.
I'm speaking as
got a
someone who
cane,
actually
though.
was a
What the
former smaller person. And I had the most body insecurities when I was small. I was constantly living in fear of gaining weight and having people tell me, oh, don't gain weight, don't do this, make sure that your weight is the same. And once I finally gained weight, I realized that first off, life wasn't over. I didn't feel any need to not engage in life the previous way that I had. And the attention that I got was different, but even as a smaller person, you get negative attention.
One thing about that, so some people gain the right weight, some people gain the wrong weight. I'm not trying to point her out, but this lady right here, she has bad weight. She gained her weight in the front and not the back. She might have her weight balanced out. Front she got a little type shit. She got some. You know what I'm saying? She got a little forehead too, but it's cool. It's cool.
And rather than trying to control my body to avoid that negative attention, I would prefer to address the situation as a society, make it more accessible for everybody to where we aren't feeling like I have to be a certain way that's normal in order to be treated like a human being and respected.
If I could counter, because I was a bit bigger when I was younger, and that's when I was the most insecure. I would look in the mirror. I did have family members that were skinny, but then I had a family member that was much bigger. And just the way that I perceived myself, I hated it, and I even became anorexic.
As black people, I believe we gonna grow up big because we gonna eat. We gonna eat everywhere we go. Grandma house, cousin house, auntie house, mama crib, grandma crib. Like, we gonna eat everywhere we go, fool. We go out to eat. Family right here. Get what you want to eat, cuz. We gonna eat food. So I think as a child, a lot of black families, we were bigger.
To like not be big.
I don't think skinny always equates to being healthy.
Exactly.
I am fairly skinny. I'm 6'5". I'm 140 pounds last time I checked, and I'm severely underweight. And I know about this on a day-to-day basis. That being said, I don't know where I'd want to lean at an appropriate weight level, but I think it's important to understand for some skinny people, we're not living a great life by any means. And sometimes I feel like that's always kind of lost in translation when they see someone who's really skinny.
I guess it depends on what you mean when you think of the term skinny. Are you thinking of just like an average weight person, or are you thinking of how you are now?
I'm the average weight for like women in America.
Yeah, like,
so
that's
if we're talking about an average, like I'm gonna be the closest. If your biggest priority is to be in a smaller body, you need to reassess your priorities.
Yeah.
What's average? What's the average weight? Because me, I think my average weight will be 220, and I'm like 240. So I don't know if they will consider me to be obese, but I know that I just be overweight. I'm just overweight. Cause being 6'3", 240, that's probably overweight. But I looked at the chart and it says 6'3", 220 is right where you want to be at. So. But she said she's average, and I'm trying to see what's average for you, love.
And the immediate tie between skinniness and health, like you emphasized, there is such a gap between, one, the research, because the research has a huge fat-phobic bias in it, and there has been research that shows that they aren't, even especially during, let's say, COVID and the correlation between obesity. They rushed through those studies so fast because in society's mind, of course a fat person is going to equal someone who's going to get sick faster, is going to get sick easier. It was an easy jump. So they didn't do all of the testing that they were supposed to do. They didn't check their bias.
So if by saying the study is biased, you're saying that the study didn't account for the variable that obesity may also take a factor into. It's just that there's so many variables in humanity that these pharmaceutical companies could only account for so many during their trials. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're biased. However, you want to talk about bias in studies, actually recently we've been doing the opposite. So for instance, a lot of our studies have been based on BMI. And so we've been showing that, fat people aren't necessarily extremely unhealthy if we look at people with a certain BMI. However, bodybuilders also have a really high BMI, and so they get counted into that category. And so it wasn't until very recently that they equated for that mistake, and it shows, oh my goodness, being fat is actually extremely unhealthy, like way, way more unhealthy than we ever realized.
You can't gauge health by looking at somebody.
Skinny?
Like none of my health
She needs to
issues,
bring up
all of
her
them
own-
precipitated my weight
her
gain.
own
But
shoes.
I
Put
always
herself
get
in her own
assumed,
shoes
oh, don't you want to be skinny
see
so
what
that you
it
don't
is
have a
like
cane
being
anymore and you
skinny.
don't feel the way you feel? And it's like, no, because I have lupus and I'm always going to feel like this.
gonna happen
Like
no
I have
matter what.
CRPS. It's going to deteriorate. It's going to continue.
America has an obesity problem.
Yeah, I do think America has an obesity problem, and that's because everybody everybody wants their own restaurant nowadays. Everybody want to make their own food. Bruh, it ain't a lot of healthy shit out here no more. Like, now everybody loves chicken. Everybody loves, like, I don't even know where these chickens coming from nowadays, bro. Like, processed. It's just processed and it tastes good. Dixie Queen, bro. Memphis, y'all know Memphis Dixie Queen, bro. Y'all know they grease it ass. Hamburgers be hidden, boy. If I didn't leave Memphis, bro, this would be me. That would be me. If I didn't leave Memphis when I left, I would have been that. Because I was eating my ass off. I couldn't stop eating. Memphis is like, bro, y'all sleeping on Memphis food, bro. Memphis food got the best food ever, food. For real. Get to the video, cuz.
That's the next deal.
Oh, absolutely.
I
you can.
preaching
I
about
think it's
food.
pretty clear. You look at the weight of the average American, you see how obesity has affected not just children. I mean, the fact that we have more younger and younger people who are looking heavier and heavier, and you see that, like, you know, the way that weight affects us as a society, and you compare that to how we were in the past. Now, not that we should always, you know, we shouldn't compare ourselves to the era of the Great Depression when people just couldn't find food, of course, but people are heavier now in an unhealthy way, and people are eating unhealthy. They are eating it through unhealthy access to food. They're eating diets high in seed oils. They're eating high corn syrup. They're doing all this kind of stuff that's not good for them that we didn't used to do, and it's bad. It's not a good thing. It's an epidemic. It needs to be quashed in some capacity.
There's so much access to just anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy these days, and you know, I'm so surprised that we're actually supporting a lot of this, you know, and there's always people like, you know, like, it's fine that we have like 3 McDonald's like on the same street. And it's just like, we don't think that this is adding to the problem.
What I think is really sad about that
But
is
I've
so
seen
many
some
people in America just see the profit in it. I don't want to say I know that these people know the problem, but it's like, how can you not see the problem? They have to see it and just not care. They have to just be like, well, we're gaining profit. Do you see how much this McDonald's is making? Put another one across the street. Like, that's just like
It's not
how it
even that. That's
is.
the corporations. It's the
Yeah.
medical industry. Having a fat country makes us money.
It doesn't help that our cities aren't walkable either.
Yeah.
America is a country of non-walkable
That
cities.
was
That is why I wavered a little bit, because I think we have a problem with how to treat obesity. I think we have a problem with how to make it so that it is not an epidemic. This is a systemic thing, that we are in a society and in an environment that breeds this. And we are doing it to ourselves, we are doing it to our children, and our corporations and our industries are doing it to us, and they aren't having to take responsibility for
And
it.
they're encouraging it with media. So
And the
like,
mukbangs, I was literally gonna bring that up. The mukbangs and like all those videos that just come up
Yeah,
to
it's
trends for people
not
to do
only
it as
the
well.
mukbangs, but also like Lizzo and other big like media people.
I'm sorry. There's a
That's a
very
different-
big
yeah.
difference between the people who are telling people go out and get fat versus a
I love
Lizzo
myself
who's saying
fat.
accept me
Yeah.
the way I am.
She's not just saying
Exactly. Lizzo is talking about accepting who you are. She's not preaching about go and get fat. No, fuck working out. Go. No, accept who you are, bro. That's where it starts at. It starts at accepting who you are and what you stand for. You know what I'm saying?
accept me the way I am. She's dressing extremely scantily clad and then saying, if you don't think that it's normal for a morbidly obese person to be wearing a G-string in the middle of public, then you're the problem. And they're trying to normalize society to this obese culture, which is extremely unhealthy. And
What is an obese culture?
a culture which like normalizes
I'm obese
obesity.
and I haven't even heard that.
Well, obesity is already normal, so
She's about to get her ass into something she don't want to be in. I suggest she shuts her mouth and she lets the other people talk, because she's just going to keep talking herself into a hole. You're going to keep digging you a hole, ma'am. You better stop.
Well, I don't think it should be normalized, and it wasn't normal
But
just a couple
what's the
decades
difference
ago.
between a obese person, myself, walking around in a G-string or a bathing suit, as I do almost every day, and a skinny person? Like, is it okay that the skinny person is doing that?
I don't think so, but
I don't think
that's for other reasons.
Yeah, I get the whole in public thing.
to say that when
Because to be honest, I'd rather see not an obese woman, but a bigger woman in a bodysuit than I would want to see a skinny woman. I don't want to see you in a bodysuit. I'd rather see one of the other girls, to be honest.
Lizzo does it is the same as a Victoria's Secret angel.
Why
It's just not the
shouldn't it be,
same.
Yeah.
I would love to see her right here. Both of them. For sure. I would rather see them than her.
What do you mean? Are you telling me they look? You're telling me it doesn't?
I'm not saying they look the same.
Well,
but
I
I'm
mean,
saying
Lizzie
what's
goes
the
on
difference?
What's
stage.
the implication? So if I walk down the street, I'm a runway model. I'm a print and runway model. I have walked down a runway in a thong. So me doing that is shameful, but a skinny model is okay.
I didn't. I don't know if I use the phrase shameful,
Problematic.
but I don't think that we as a society should be modeling obesity.
But I'm not modeling obesity. I'm modeling the lingerie that obese people need to be able to have availability to buy.
So they've always had the ability to buy
They have not.
lingerie.
You go to Torrid,
It doesn't come in their size.
$20.
Yeah.
And
It
you go
doesn't
to
come
like
in
any
their
other
size.
Walmart, any Target, and like all these underwears are on special for like $5 to like $20 and stuff.
Well, it
and
does
it's
take
like,
more fabric to make it.
It does take more fabric to
They
make
use
it,
that
but
as an
it's,
excuse, but
that
you
would-
make yards of fabric
Yeah.
for gowns. You, like,
Is a
it's-
small
it's-
a different price than an extra large or a large?
It is.
And
yeah,
we're willing-
for 3XL shirts, I got to pay more money.
I think people view models and Instagram people and all of us who are plus size and proud as we're pushing this obese lifestyle. No, I am pushing the fact that this is what I live in. This is my life, and I need other people who feel this way
accept it.
to say, hey, I want to be able to wear clothes that look cute too.
I do think there's a problem with obesity in America, but I think it's a first world country problem because it's spread across the
disagreed.
globe. And also, I don't see it as a problem. I do feel like health-wise, people should try to be healthier, but there's no perfect body. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect size. And there's people who are underweight. There's a lot of them. And then there's a lot of people who are overweight. So I really don't see it as like a problem. But just to touch on what you were saying, because I am in the fashion industry, I wanted to become a fashion designer. My dad was one. And they buy 10 rolls of fabric for one price. So it really doesn't cost that much to make underwear.
Sure, but don't you also have to worry about distribution? I mean, if the average person is, let's say, in between small, medium, large, and you're sending clothes out for those, you know you could send out 10,000 of this, 10,000 of that, 10,000 of that. You can't always send out 10,000 3XLs because you're not going to have that many people fitting in the 3XL.
No, because there's somebody who works in marketing and they research that area. There's a census. So we have a database of what type of people are there. Now, we don't know who's going in there, but we know the type of people that live in that area and the type of the people that come and visit the area. So that person is doing their job accordingly, and usually large sizes are sold out.
Okay, so somebody brought up the food desert earlier. I can't even think of an area that would have.
Now, I do think I think he is right. I think they do subtract I think they do, you know what I'm saying? That they don't send as much as of the big shit. They don't send as much of the 3XLs, cause I wear a size 15 shoe. And I know for a fact that they probably put about 10 or 15 pair of shoes, 10 or 15 pair of 15, you know what I'm saying, size 15 shoes, and they ain't finna let them just sit there, fool. They got 10 to 15 pairs. Whoever get these 10 to 15 pairs, that's it. We ain't selling no more. You gotta order online, bro. Cause your foot too damn big. We need you to order online, sir.
A so-called food desert.
Sorry, can someone explain, like maybe just for my ignorance, I'm guessing a food desert is just there's no food anywhere?
No, it's healthy options for food. So you can go into certain low-income areas and you'll see a Starbucks, a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, but there's no Trader Joe's.
A food desert, actually properly, there isn't any, like for a long period of driving, there's one gas station and a liquor store. Then you have to drive 2 more miles to hit the next grocery store.
But with the food desert, it's not just that there can be a grocery store there, but if I'm making minimum wage, I'm not gonna spend all of my money on what is gonna last me 2 meals versus what's gonna last me an entire week.
Yes.
Or if I'm on EBT and I have
Right.
specific things that I have to choose to buy versus what I can't buy.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in Colorado. In the outskirts, there's so many small
Let me turn this fucking air off.
that you don't even know that they're there. Most of them you won't see on a map, but if you're from there, then you'll know, and they all have to drive a decent amount to be able to go to an actual grocery store.
But how often are you going grocery shopping? Maybe like once every 2 weeks would be typically
I think it
normal. So you have
depends.
to do a drive
My
once
family, I gotta
every.
go once a week.
So you're making a drive once a week, once every 2 weeks.
This is
Not a lot
also
of people
saying
have
drive.
access to the
Yeah, like what
time
if I don't have a
to
car?
I was like, I don't
I don't even
and if
drive.
you don't have, usually these food deserts also have very poor public transportation options.
Yep,
So
like in the
you are
mountains.
left with people who are stranded.
Yeah, but then what are they eating at all?
Yeah.
Unhealthy crap.
No, but how are they surviving
what,
at
they going through
all?
the drive-through? They don't got a car to go to the
Yeah,
drive-through. How are
exactly.
They usually, what I've seen when I go to those rural towns and those rural places is they have chickens and they have animals.
Right.
And guess what? You can get some healthy food out of that. That's
That
like,
sounds
having
healthy.
eggs and protein and things like that. I think I would be healthier if I lived rurally. In fact, my wife and I are trying to leave the state so we're not near all the Uber Eats and all
I grew up in a town of
This is exactly what I was just saying about the Dixie Queen brand Memphis, fool. I had to get up out of Memphis, bro. I'm over here eating this shit dinner every weekend, fool. Drinking Dixie Queen right after the drink, cause they don't close at all. They 24 hours, bro. So you mean to tell me I can get drunk as hell, be on the way to the crib at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I can stop at Dixie Queen to get me a greasy ass burger to fulfill all this alcohol I done drunk? And Waffle House open too? Of course I'm finna get fat. Of course I'm finna eat that shit. The fuck?
100, the obesity problem there was not as significant as, say, in LA. And we talk about like food deserts and stuff. The nearest Walmart where I grew up was 45 minutes in any direction. The nearest McDonald's was nowhere near to be seen for a long time. So when I hear these, like, and there could be some evidence there as like the obesity problem is very low lift.
Were there grocery stores in your small town?
Yes.
Exactly.
Like I'm like kind of baffled by the fact that,
Thank you.
Maybe I just need to go out there and like experience the food deserts, but like there was grocery stores where I grew up. Just because we lived in the middle of nowhere, it doesn't mean we didn't have access to food. And actually, and I have to agree, we did have access to healthy food. Very healthy food all the time. I don't think this is big of an issue in my personal opinion.
Fat shaming is worse than skinny shaming.
So I do agree that fat shaming is worse than skinny shaming. Just overall, entirely, the way that people like comment on people's weight.
That's tough. Fat shaming is worse than skinny shaming. That's tough. Cause when you fat, people can be, you know what I'm saying, fat adding. Yo, I got titties on your back. Ugly. Mattress built by that nigga. King size bed by that nigga. Skinny shaming. Pencil stick ass nigga. Pencil by that nigga. I don't really know, bro.
Compared to somebody skinny, they usually don't comment on somebody skinny. They don't think there's something wrong with them. They don't, like, they'll maybe say like, oh, you're very thin. Do you want to eat a cheeseburger? But that's not as bad as telling somebody you eat 10, stop. And you don't even know that they're eating.
Okay, hold on. Okay. Now, when I know this girl, bro, she's skinny, bro. Her ribs show. Her ribs be showing. Her ribs be showing. Them hoes be showing. And I be telling her to eat. And sometimes she do tell me that sometimes when I talk about it, she be getting on her nerves. I don't know, cuz.
Fat shaming is
think fat
a
shaming is
systemic
worse.
problem. You're not gonna not get a job because you're too skinny. Skinny bodies are praised in our society, whereas fat bodies, like, I don't get it as often as other people, but
Now I understand that part, because when you do, you know what I'm saying, you distance yourself for a little minute, then you pop up on the family and you done lost some weight or whatever, they were like, oh, you looking good. But when you bigger, see, as a black family, I'm not finna defend that. Fuck no, because in the black family, folk, excuse, excuse me, in a black family food, if you pull up and you gain some weight, they gonna be like, oh, you been eating good. What? You been eating real good. You looking good. Some people, families, black families food. You gon' love yourself for sure. I ain't never had that type of problem though.
I get a lot of comments on my Instagram that are saying like, you're really beautiful, but you would look a lot better if you lost 50, 60 pounds.
See there, that's fucked up. That's fucked up.
Something that I always get a lot of comments on is my masculinity as a man because of how skinny I am. It's always something that I've always kind of dealt with. My favorite comment is always, I look like a sickly, ill Victorian child. And
That's horrible.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at that.
no. I don't. It doesn't bother me as much. But this idea that skinny people can't also get these kind of comments are just kind of mind blowing. That doesn't mean that they're, that one side is getting it worse than the other. I think that there are both sides getting piled on, just at different varying degrees.
I think we're conflating two things as well. So there's a difference between fat shaming and fat discrimination. Fat shaming is an aspect of fat discrimination, but some of the things you were touching on are specifically societal and systemic fat discrimination that goes into our medical system, it goes into employment, it goes into all of our civil rights. As fat people, that skinny people don't necessarily have that same issue. And I come from cultures where they straight out called out skinny people. Oh, you look like bones, oh flaca, all of that. So I watched my cousins go through it. I went through it when I would get too skinny. As people, we are just too scrutinized when it comes to our bodies. We don't let people live.
But I think that's a good point. You said you were called skin and bones when you got
My cousin.
But your cousin. So people using shame as a motivator to get your cousin to not be too skinny. Shame as a motivator is a powerful tool. So the reason I sit over there is fat shaming worse than skinny shaming. Well, you could argue that shaming somebody in order to motivate them towards a healthy lifestyle is actually a good thing. Now, I have a lot of empathy because hearing your story about how you've been struggling with this since you were a child.
Since I was like a newborn baby, like health, just everything's just been on that end where I've never known anything about being skinny or being fit or being athletic. I've never known anything about that.
Probably your...
Bro, she confused the fuck out of me, bro. You say you been in sports. How are you big and you work out?
I don't think shame necessarily would motivate you, but for somebody where it is a option, so for instance, if you watch TLC, you watch My 600-Pound Life, 1,000-Pound Sisters, Family by the Ton, all of them can do it. All of them have had this systemic issue
That's
of
the
weight
thing, though. I
gain.
have watched those like as a younger person, and it would make me feel disgusted with me when I was a kid. So it would make me worse, and it made my mental health worse. Because then I'm like, is that how like everybody automatically views me as just like somebody who's
257,
oversized and
y'all.
could possibly
Damn,
never
3
even
o'clock in the
attain it because
morning,
it's so just common.
I don't think we should shame anyone to do anything.
No.
I think everyone deserves to like themselves enough to like enjoy life. And if you do that as a fat person, okay. If you do it as a skinny person, also chill. It's not my business.
Shame is a broad category. I do think shame works in some cases. I think that there has been good fat shaming towards me and bad fat shaming. Bad fat shaming is just, somebody just saying, you're fat, things like that. That doesn't really work. But what does work is somebody looking at me and saying, don't you want to be around for your kids? And that worked.
I don't think
that
that's
worked.
shaming.
Yeah, like, do you consider that shame?
I do. I think that's shaming.
It's-
I think they were telling me like
dark.
you should lose weight to be around for your children. I think that's shame. Like an attempt to like try and say something bad about me.
Like they're personalizing
encourage
it
me.
towards you and towards your kids. Like,
Sure.
of course, yeah. It's
Yeah,
good.
but I think that worked. I think that worked. That really encouraged me to go to the gym and start trying to lose weight.
But that's you, though.
Sure. I think you have to be specific to the person.
I think that's one thing is it depends on the person.
Sure,
And if someone wants to shame me and it depends on the person. I've been shamed a couple times and it's kicked me into gear to try to gain weight, but it's still really hard.
Sure.
And it's it depends on who you are, I think.
When
He
you were
look
making
like
a
the
comment
type
about
that
people
just
questioning your
can't gain it,
masculinity, I get the question of actually looking like a woman
She
all the
do too.
time, and it's always in play. I always get compared to like male characters, especially when I don't wear makeup. And that's because I don't have boobs. And I can't help that, but it's definitely really, really hard to like have people tell you constantly, like, here's the standard of how a woman should look, and you don't look like that, without even saying it. They don't say it, they're categorizing me. They're making fun of me, saying that I look like this one soccer player or something. And you know, I think it's funny, but also shame can also be hard, because I can see what you mean. Sometimes it can really motivate you when it's out of love, but when it's out of pain, and when it's out of like not knowing.
See, all this can be avoided if you just love yourself, bro. If you just love yourself and who you are and how you know what I'm saying?
And just saying it, then
Yeah, the people who said that to me about my kids were not, just some random guy online. It was people who were close to me and I knew cared about me, who I had a conversation with. So I do think it matters who says it, but I still would consider it to an extent shaming. And I'm okay with that. I think there is good shame. I think sometimes it helps motivate people in the right way.
The body positivity movement promotes childhood obesity.
Yeah.
Diet culture has positive effects.
Diet culture has positive
I guess for me, diet culture is an important thing to have for people in the world. What I've realized after we're about to finish this up is there wasn't a lot of talk on skinny culture or like skinny people as a whole. Maybe that's because of how the prompt is. But I think it's important if we're gonna give positivity to.
So basically, is it talking about like, diet culture has positive effects, but my mind is like not here. Diet culture has positive effects. So it's saying like trying to force a diet on certain cultures. Like for me, they're saying like, I don't know what would be my diet culture though. I think I'm understanding what he's talking
to
about.
Our obese, I think it's important to give them the options to, say if they want to lose weight, they can. And I don't see a problem with that in any real sense.
I think that diet culture is a reason that a lot of people struggle with weight problems in the first place. I have even struggled with my own weight issues in the past, and I was like struggling kind of with depriving myself too much because I had a trainer. And then I started binge eating, and as soon as I had like a mental break where I was like physically incapable of stopping myself from putting food in my mouth, I immediately went to see a doctor, and that doctor told me to read a book called Intuitive Eating, and it wildly changed my life. And it was about getting past diet culture and about how so many people ruin their lives with diet culture. And you see it with like somebody talked about eating grapes and lettuce, and it's grapes and lettuce, and it's just like it's this extreme, and so you go from one extreme and then you break, and then you go to the other extreme, and so like I was in my extreme, I broke, so that's why I'm anti-diet culture.
Yeah, I tried keto for a while, and that's the thing about what I realized is like that fad diet.
So my diet culture that I'm trying to eat ham sandwiches, turkey, like I ain't got the regular ham that, you know what I'm saying, that people usually get. Like I ain't got no brown chicken ham. I got turkey, like chicken rotisserie. This actually what it is. And I got some turkey bacon, like, so I'm guessing that would be my diet culture. I'm trying to eat right type stuff, and I ain't, bruh, look at my refrigerator right now, I ain't got I got nothing else but water. Nothing but water in my refrigerator. Like, so okay. I'm guessing.
And yeah, did I lose weight? I absolutely lost weight, sure. I didn't keep it off, and the reason I didn't keep it off is because diet culture is about turning the word diet from your overall eating into an activity that takes place over a period of time. A diet should not be something you do from January until May of next year. Diet is what you continually eat, is what you continually put into yourself. Yeah.
Lifestyle change.
Yeah. So my issue with diet culture is this idea of like, oh, I've got this perfect solution for you, man. All you got to do is this, and this, and that. And it's like, no, like the reality is like, yeah, there are good, correct, and objective ways, I think, for a lot of people to eat. And yes, everybody has to have some variations here and there. There's no one bag fits all, and diet culture is so much about trying to say, like, all you got to do is just eat cheese puffs every day for the rest of your life. And
it's easy.
Yeah. And so that's why I think.
Boy, it is so easy to eat junk food for the rest of your life. I promise you, bro. Like, why is it so easy to fuck up? It's so easy, bro. Like, it shouldn't be that easy. It shouldn't be that hard to
You're always
get
going
right.
to get those people who have the perfect answer. They have the perfect solution to either lose weight, or diet isn't just losing weight, it's also gaining weight. You know, and I think a lot of people, maybe it's just for me, but when I diet, it's actually not the opposite of fasting. I'm trying to eat more. I'm trying to gain more. And I think people forget that when it comes to diet. When people instantly hear the word diet, they think losing weight. And I don't think that should always be the case.
I've been on a lot of diets. I've been on diets for myself. I've been put on diets, and I've been put on diets by my coaches. So when I was young, I felt like it was more so like fasting, not eating, but working out. And maybe hopefully eating once you get home as a reward. And then when it became like, oh, like you're a good person in the team to like be the big person, be the defender, be buff. So it was like, now we have to gain all this weight and we have to pound you out. So it was like, I had to eat like 5 meals in a day. And I felt so gross because I was just like, I've never had to like pull out like a bar or something and like eat it during class and be like, I have to eat this because it's part of my diet.
When we talk about diet culture, we're talking about not your diet as a whole. It's usually a fad diet is what we're talking about when we're talking about diet culture. And for me personally, I know that I've seen a lot of, especially women in my life, going on fad diets that are just not sustainable. And that's kind of the purpose of diet culture, is that it's not a sustainable thing.
But we're all talking about like mainstream, like keto, like gluten-free. And I think everyone's just polarized on these certain ones that I believe that you should eat gluten. I think if you take it out of your diet, you're actually going to get sick.
Unless you
Unless
are.
celiacs, no, like, yeah.
It goes back to like what she said, which is, intuitive eating.
So what is the positive you think you've seen for people from diet culture, which I think, and I guess, what do you consider diet culture?
I guess like diet culture to me is the resources you need to get to where you want to be in your life, in your body. That's how I've always viewed diet
By
culture.
dieting, do you mean like journaling what you're eating?
Yeah, if you want to journal, if you want to, talk to a therapist, if you want to work out, if you want to see a doctor, if you want to go on meds, like, everyone's
But
always...
it's not being super, like when you diet, you're not being like, I'm completely cutting out carbs or I'm completely doing this, right?
Drinking lemon water only.
You're like watching your
behavior.
macros and your micros and you're calculating
Like,
that
I
and
guess
you're staying within.
if you're asking if I know how many calories I have to eat, yeah, like I have to eat like 4,000 a day.
When most people talk about diet culture, they've done some sort of extremely restrictive
4,000 a
thing.
day?
And when you do something really restrictive, it changes your brain chemistry and the way that you think about food, and it makes you obsessive over food. And then, but it sounds like the way that you're doing it is extremely healthy because you're not depriving your body of something.
But isn't that just goes back to like, you guys are talking about the extremes of diet culture?
Diet culture is one thing, and then a healthy lifestyle
Having a
and
healthy
intuitive
diet
eating
is
type thing
different.
are two different things.
All right.
I personally don't think of living a healthy lifestyle as a diet.
You've been in like model spheres. Do you see diet culture and how has it impacted space?
There was a point in my life, like when I was a junior in high school, where the person that I was with at the time, he's like 6'6" and super tall. And so, the mom was like, hey,
might be
like
him.
my son is gonna go audition to this big
might be
agency,
him.
which is
They
still
might be
big to
him.
this day. And, you should come. So I went, and I weighed 115 pounds, and I was a D cup, and they said that I weighed too much. And so seeing that really struck me in the beginning with the negative part of dieting, and just kind of went into the spiral of like, okay, well, if I'm too big, then what are people doing to not be this size? Like, how can I make it to do what I want to do if this is my limitation to it? It took years later to realize, like, shit, I was really disciplining myself for no apparent reason except for this underlying feeling from years ago that I could never get rid of. When you're talking about like discipline, I think it can be really positive with dieting and like intaking your calories, but for me personally, and I'm a very specific case, seeing those numbers and knowing that I couldn't achieve it because I didn't have the appetite was also just so saddening to me, because reading the bare minimum of what a woman needs 5'5" at my age, I was like, that's not that much, and I still couldn't eat it at the time, and I'm like, what's wrong with me? There's different ways to motivate people, and one of them is out of pain and anger, and I feel like a lot of the diet culture, whether it's for positive or negative, is just trying to gear into that. And you know, I just am more about being healthy.
I hear diet and I think of something that's positive, and it's been positive to me, and you know, it's something I'm always trying to achieve. I guess like if we were to redo this, the same exact question, I may hesitate and not walk across the line. I guess I'll never know, but hearing these perspectives were really good because I probably didn't know as much about the extremes.
I want to thank all of you for sharing your opinions with us and for challenging us, and I really want to thank you. I thank you for and forth. It's something that I came here for, and I wanted to talk to somebody who thinks differently, and I've learned some things, so I appreciate that for all of you.
Thank you.
Well, that's the end for this video, y'all. I'm tired as hell. I just got off work, bro. I'm tired. I was gonna do another reaction video, but I don't think I'm gonna make it, bro. I'm finna go to bed, y'all. But y'all, thank y'all for tuning in, bro. Roll to 100 subscribers, y'all. I'm not giving up, bro. One thing I'm not gonna do, I'm not gonna give up, bro. This is my dream. I'm about to start trying to get better with my videos. I'm finna start getting to my bag, for real. But yeah, y'all let me know what else to watch. Y'all let me know what else to watch, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We reacting to shit. We react to anything, bro. We react to anything. That being said, like, comment, subscribe. I'm out.